Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through, just like we always do, dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. I'm going to give you my financial opinions, and if you need any help, check out the website, finding-value.com. That is where you can get a little bit more inside information on what my thoughts are around individual companies. We do have a midweek update being released today. Look for it today. I'll release it here on my opinions of the individual companies in the markets. So let's dive in here. Let's take a look and see what's going on. We've got the dollar still hanging out here, still looking quite strong. It still looks like we could go higher in the dollar if it wants to. I mean, I don't see any reversal candlesticks. Still looks good to go on up. We've got the 2-year yield just ripping today, 3%. So we came on back. We came back to this support level. We bounced off support. That's what that big wick is at the bottom. And then launched higher. So the short end, the 2-year, looks really strong here to continue to the upside. The 10-year yield still working its way higher, still looking good. And then the long end down a little bit. Again, is this a kind of a double top pattern? Well, let's find out. I'm not convinced of it yet. The short end looks like it's on fire to the upside. So let's wait and see. TYX TNX ratio, the curve did invert today, and that's not necessarily a tailwind behind precious metals. So we have a yield curve that's inverting. We have the yield curve go up, the short end, and the dollar was relatively flat. TLT bond prices up a little bit. Looks like we're trying to find support on the support region. Again, we've got a lot of support in this general location here. Lots of trading, and we're right on top of that support level. So I do think it's going to be supported right where it's at. Gold down about $9. I think we're coming back to this support level. The support level is that lower $1,900 level. We've got a confluence of support there. We've got this old guy coming back, lots of trading going back horizontally, and we also have the support going down on the trend line that's angled. So it all kind of runs right underneath us as support for gold. Silver down a little bit, but again, we're up against support now. You can see a little bit of a bounce off the white trend line and the blue trend line. The white trend line's moving on up down here. I drew it on the longer term, that white trend line. There's the white trend line here. And then the blue trend line is also this guy coming up here, going across it. We're also sitting on. So we're right at a intersection of support right underneath us. And obviously, if we go into the short term, you can see we bounced on it and came back up above it. So we'll see if that support holds. It looks like it's holding pretty good right now. And everything's still intact for this to work its way higher. We just haven't broken out yet. Platinum down a little bit, $12 an ounce today. There we are today, down a little bit. XAU to gold ratio, we are right at support. So we'll see if this support holds. And the companies look like they were down just a little bit today, but fared better than the price of gold. So CRB index down just a little bit, but still looks good to continue higher. On the big picture view, first wave, the consolidation, and the breakout. CRB versus the S&P 500, working its way higher, still looks very good and well poised for what I think is going to be an outperformance for commodities. Looking at these guys, the gold and silver mining companies, just moving sideways. Moving sideways, right above support for GDXJ. There's that support level, and I drew it in a little bit longer term view. SILJ also slightly lower and doing okay. It's doing okay. It's not a big selling pressure day. It's still holding in there. Looks all right. Two big days, small days, all within. This could easily turn at any second. Crude oil up 1.1%, still putting in the up days. Nice move for crude. Momentum still to the upside, looks pretty good. Natural gas down a little bit. We are coming into that fall season. We do have support at about $2.40. XOP, yeah, you know me, hanging right out on the neckline of this gigantic inverted head and shoulders. We're right on the neckline. And again, we could move sideways or do another loop. It is possible here at that resistance level. OIH still forging higher, 0.35%. We had a little bit of selling pressure yesterday with that wick at the top, and we've just moved sideways today. So again, the momentum's to the upside. We'll see if that momentum can continue or if we're going to get stronger selling pressure in the short term. Profitable Uranium Trust down a little bit. It looks like we covered this little gap here. Let's back out a little bit. Is there any? It's not really a reversal candlestick. Just a little bit of selling pressure. I'd be patient. There's a lot of momentum behind this, and we could cool down a little bit in the short term. It is in the cards. We've had a pretty big move here. It's been in a very short period of time. Generally, we calm down, pull back a little bit, consolidate. Maybe we do a little bit of a flag pattern, and then we resume again. That is possible. URA down a little bit. It's not a reversal candlestick, so again, lots of momentum behind this move. We'll see if that momentum continues tomorrow. But again, it's not a reversal candlestick, just a down day. URNM, it's getting there. Maybe, again, we've had a monster move off this bottom. We'll see if we turn back a little bit and create some sort of flag pattern or a pennant formation or whatever the heck it wants to do. We'll see there. It's not a huge reverse. This is a little bit of a reversal candlestick. If we were to look at it from a short-term chart, you can see that we came up, and if we drew a trend line here, let me throw. This is a very short-term chart, guys. If I drew a trend line, you can see that we broke that trend line there on the very short term. But maybe this is all that could muster. So again, we could see a little bit further downside in the short term. We could see a little bit of a flag pattern where we come on back like this, and it could create some sort of flag pattern, and then we head on higher. So that is possible. URNJ also could also be a bloody nose, and what a bloody nose is this is a URNJ on a very short-term chart, just to show you guys. This could also be a flag pattern that has basically developed as well, and then we break out and move higher. So again, on the very short term, I don't trade the short-term market movements. It is too unpredictable for me to get in there and get dirty. So again, we could have a little bit of a pullback, maybe another day or two, small pullback possible. But we could also rip whenever if the buyers want to come in here, we could rip this thing again. So what am I going to do? Nothing. I'm going to stay long and ride this sucker. TAN down a little bit further today. There's the selling pressure today. It was looking pretty good here, like almost like a little flag pattern, but it broke to the downside, and we do have support underneath us. COPX just moving sideways in this big channel. No real updates to do there. Lithium down a little bit. We're still within the bigger overall picture, so just be patient. I do still think this is going to break to the upside. And REMX is the same thing as lithium. Just be patient here. We're still within the pattern. We just had a little bit of a down day. We could come back a little bit. This could be a continuation pattern to the downside a little bit. So we could see a little bit more selling pressure in the short term. S&P 500 down, but we had a nice little reversal candlestick. Look at this here, guys. So what we see here, this is very short term. You can see that we broke out of this guy here. We broke to the downside. Then we reversed on higher, and then you could also maybe draw something like that. We'll see where that goes. But again, guys, very short term. We'll see if we can get a bounce here to the upside and see how sustaining that bounce is. I'm sure the NASDAQ is going to be the same. We'll see if we get any sort of bounce here and how sustaining it looks. If it's a big green candlestick that looks like that guy there comes in with a big green candlestick, well, then we're probably going to go higher. If it's a real weak bounce and it just does one of these things, it's probably going to rotate and turn over. That's my guess. Emerging markets, right on support. Again, I think this looks like it's in a good location. It's just getting decimated by the dollar and those yields rocketing on up. So patience is required here in emerging markets. XHB up a little bit. We are getting some selling pressure in this stock here, and the bounce is pretty weak today. Are we going to have some downside? Some people say, oh, this is definitely a double top. It's possible. This does look a little bit like the Batman pattern as well, so we could head lower here. It's very well likely. The pattern on the short term, yeah, we could go lower, but that still doesn't fix the deficits in the market. So I still think we have a problem in the housing market, and the home builders are going to be the ones that benefit. We do have on the weeklies some of these big green candlesticks as well. So it's really a buyer versus seller battle up here at the top. We'll see which one wins here shortly. Moo coming back to support. We did get a little bit of a bounce here on the bottom. So if you look at the kind of the short term, you can see that we bounced off that support. And we'll see if we can get a little bit of a bounce here and see what that bounce looks like. Copper still squeezing up in this pattern. Squeeze, 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 and it does not have a decisive direction yet. We're still squeezing in here. Iron ore down a little bit, but again, we've broken this thing to the upside. Still looks good to go higher. A lot of the times what happens is you get a breakout and then you get a return move back to this level before heading higher. So there is that potential for a return move still in the cards. Nickel just moving sideways. This is the one here. We've got a battle between the buyers and the sellers right where we're at. Let's see which one wins. Still needs more time. Aluminum, again, looks like we're trying to put in some sort of turn here. We'll see if we can get a bounce. We're right against support, and this does, to me, look like a accumulation cylinder that we get. And then hopefully we can get a nice big move here. So it does look very Livermore accumulation cylinder-ish back from 2021. Baltic Dry Index, again, I'm going to remain bullish that this is going to move higher based off of the pattern before it. This is a consolidation pattern, a false breakdown, and we've broken to the upside. Newcastle Coal still working its way on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if this chart is updating or not. Some of these, it's like they work sometimes, and then sometimes they don't. So let me reopen it. Doesn't look like it refreshes or anything like that. Reload it, see if it goes back to the S&P 500. But yeah, it's just down there. It looks good to move on higher for Newcastle Coal. Bitcoin, again, we are just moving sideways. I don't know what it's trying to do here. Ethereum's doing the same thing. And we're just moving sideways. Are we going to get the big move up, or are we going to get a break lower? Let's wait and find out. Don't know with any sort of certainty yet. And again, we don't have a ton of history on Ethereum and Bitcoin and how exactly they handle increasing interest rates. To me, it looks more like the NASDAQ is the way that it trades. So, yeah, a little bit of a pullback today. Now we just have to see if the momentum is going to carry us higher for uranium. If oil is going to continue higher, oil was higher. So we'll see what the energy sectors look like. They still look good. And just a little bit of a selling pressure day today. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website. Check out that midweek update if you guys want. And we still have a 50% discount September in the coupon code if you guys are interested. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.